The Sound of Music captured the hearts of millions with its timeless songs and the unforgettable story of the Von Trapp family. Yet behind the joyful melodies and glittering success were shadows of sorrow. Many of the film's beloved stars faced heartbreaking fates, sudden illnesses, tragic accidents, and struggles far from the spotlight. What really happened to them after the curtain fell? Let's uncover their untold stories and remember the legacies they left behind. Heather Menzies-Urich as Louisa Von Trapp. Heather Menzies, born on December 3, 1949, in Toronto, Canada, was just 15 years old when she stepped into the role of Louisa Von Trapp, the mischievous third daughter, in The Sound of Music. With no previous acting experience, her lively presence made her unforgettable in the classic So Long Farewell scene. After the film's success, she pursued a career in television and movies, appearing in Logan's Run, Piranha, and several popular series of the 1970s. In 1973, she surprised fans by posing for Playboy in a bold spread titled Tender Trap, a striking reinvention of her wholesome image. Her life took a new direction when she married actor Robert Urich. Choosing family over stardom, she gradually left Hollywood and devoted herself to raising children and supporting her husband. When Robert died of a rare cancer in 2002, Heather channeled her grief into compassion, founding the Robert Urich Foundation to fund cancer research and help patients. But fate struck again. In November 2017, Heather was diagnosed with terminal brain cancer. Just 4 weeks later, on Christmas Eve, she passed away peacefully at the age of 68, surrounded by her loved ones. Her son Ryan recalled, "My mom wasn't in pain. She lived fully and left us peacefully." Gone too soon, Heather's legacy endures as both a beloved Von Trapp child and a woman who transformed tragedy into hope for others. Christopher Plummer as Captain Georg Von Trapp. Christopher Plummer, born on December 13, 1929 in Toronto, Canada, brought dignity and quiet strength to the role of Captain Georg Von Trapp in The Sound of Music at age 35. Though he later mocked the film as too sentimental, the performance made him a household name around the world. Across 7 decades, Plummer became one of the greats of stage and screen. From Shakespeare to The Insider, from Star Trek to Beginners, which earned him an Academy Award at 82, making him the oldest actor ever to win. He amassed 2 Tonys, 2 Emmys, and universal respect. His personal life, however, was far from simple. He married 3 times, endured heartbreaks, and once saw his second wife nearly lose her life in a horrific accident. Yet through it all, he remained tireless, still acting into his 80s, and even filming during the COVID-19 pandemic. On February 5, 2021, Plummer died at home in Connecticut following a fall, passing peacefully in the arms of his third wife, Elaine Taylor, after more than 50 years together. He was 91. With an estimated net worth of $20 million and a legacy defined by artistry and endurance, Christopher Plummer's presence continues to echo across the history of cinema. Eleanor Parker as Baroness Elsa. Eleanor Parker, born on June 26, 1922 in Cedarville, Ohio, was 42 when she played Baroness Elsa Schrader in The Sound of Music. With her icy elegance and aristocratic charm, she became the poised rival who nearly stole Captain Von Trapp's heart. By then, Parker was already one of Hollywood's most celebrated actresses. Nicknamed the Woman of 1,000 Faces, she earned 3 Academy Award nominations in the 1950s for roles that proved her extraordinary range, from toughness to vulnerability to grace. But her personal life was less charmed. She married 4 times, 3 ending in divorce, and the last in heartbreak when her husband died of cancer. Though she raised 4 children and later became a grandmother, her journey was marked by turbulence and loss. In her later years, Parker withdrew quietly from Hollywood, choosing peace over shallow roles. When asked why she stepped away, she said simply, she no longer wished to be trapped in characters that lacked depth. On December 9, 2013, Eleanor Parker died in Palm Springs at the age of 91 from complications of pneumonia. Her legacy endures as one of cinema's most versatile chameleons, and as the unforgettable baroness who brought both allure and tension to the sound of music. Charmian Carr as Liesl von Trapp. Charmian Carr, born on December 27, 1942, in Chicago, Illinois, was just 21 when she lit up the screen as Liesl von Trapp, the graceful eldest daughter in The Sound of Music. Her duet and dance with Rolf in 16 Going on 17 remains one of the most cherished scenes in movie history, forever capturing her youthful charm. Though the role brought her instant fame, Carr's acting career was surprisingly brief. Aside from a television musical opposite Anthony Perkins in 1966, she soon left Hollywood behind. Instead, she found fulfillment as an interior designer, running her own company in California and later writing 2 memoirs, Forever Liesl and Letters to Liesl, which reconnected her with fans around the world. Her later years, however, were marked by tragedy. Carr developed a rare form of frontotemporal dementia, a degenerative illness that slowly took away the vibrance audiences remembered. Despite her struggles, she remained a beloved figure among Sound of Music enthusiasts, attending reunions and keeping in touch with castmates. On September 17, 2016, Charmian Carr passed away in Los Angeles at the age of 73. Though her time in Hollywood was brief, her portrayal of Liesl left a timeless impression, forever remembered as 16 Going on 17. Ben Wright as Herr Zeller. Ben Wright, born on May 5, 1915 in London, England, appeared in The Sound of Music at age 48 as Herr Zeller, the stern Nazi officer whose cold presence embodied the growing shadow over Austria. Though his screen time was brief, his commanding gaze and chilling authority left a lasting impression, making him one of the film's most memorable villains. In private life, Wright was more modest than the roles he played. He married twice and raised 2 children, living without scandal or fanfare. Colleagues admired him as a dedicated professional, content to shine from the background rather than the spotlight. On July 2, 1989, Ben Wright died in Burbank, California, at the age of 74, following complications from heart surgery. His final performance in The Little Mermaid premiered just months after his passing, a bittersweet farewell from an actor whose voice had already become part of Disney's magic. Peggy Wood as Mother Abbess. Peggy Wood, born on February 9, 1892 in Brooklyn, New York, was already a celebrated Broadway veteran when she appeared in The Sound of Music at the age of 72. As Mother Abbess, she delivered one of the film's most powerful moments with Climb Every Mountain, a performance that brought hope and tears to audiences worldwide. The role earned her both an Academy Award and Golden Globe nomination, a crowning achievement in a career that had begun more than half a century earlier. Wood's life on stage was long and distinguished. She made her Broadway debut in 1910, starred in operettas and plays across America and Europe, and later transitioned into television with roles in Mama and other series. Colleagues admired her not only for her poise, but also for her generosity in mentoring younger actors. Her personal life, however, was shadowed by sorrow. She married twice, first to poet John Weaver, who died tragically young at 44, leaving her to raise their son, then to William Walling, a publishing executive whose death in 1973 ended their 27-year union. Despite these heartbreaks, Peggy never withdrew. She turned to writing, teaching, and serving as president of the American National Theater and Academy, dedicating herself to nurturing future generations of performers. On March 18, 1978, Peggy Wood suffered a fatal stroke and passed away at 86 in Stamford, Connecticut. There was no spectacle, no fanfare, only the quiet respect of a world that had been lifted by her voice. Richard Haydn, as Max Detweiler. Richard Haydn, born on March 10, 1905 in London, England, brought wit and eccentric charm to the role of Max Detweiler in The Sound of Music. At 59, he embodied the crafty, humorous impresario who helped the Von Trapp family find their voice on stage, balancing the film's tension with levity and warmth. Haydn's path to Hollywood was anything but ordinary. Before acting, he worked as a banana plantation manager in Jamaica, an unlikely beginning for a man who would become known for his distinctive nasal voice and quirky mannerisms. In the 1940s and 1950s, he built a career on stage and screen, delighting audiences with unforgettable supporting roles. He played Professor Audley in Ball of Fire, 1941, appeared in countless comedies, and even lent his unmistakable voice to Disney's Caterpillar in Alice in Wonderland, 1951. Though never a traditional leading man, Haydn carved out a place in cinema as a character actor who could make even the smallest role shine. His eccentricity became his signature, proof that standing out could be an art form. On April 25, 1985, Richard Haydn died suddenly of a heart attack at his home in Pacific Palisades, California, at the age of 80. In his final act of generosity, he donated his body to UCLA for scientific research. Portia Nelson as Sister Bertha. Portia Nelson, born in 1920, was 45 when she played Sister Bertha, the strict nun who doubted Maria's path in The Sound of Music. It was a small role, but her presence gave weight to the convent scenes. Discovered by chance while working as a secretary, she was urged onto the stage by actress Jane Russell. Soon, Nelson's soaring soprano made her a cabaret star of the 1950s, filling New York and Hollywood clubs with elegance and emotion. But tragedy followed. After surviving breast cancer in the 1970s, she was later struck by throat and tongue cancer, the cruel irony being that Nelson never smoked. Yet the smoky clubs she sang in may have taken her voice away. She passed in 2001 at age 80, her ashes scattered in Kolob Canyon, a place from her childhood. Though she left little wealth, her songs and letters remain, preserving the legacy of a woman whose life was defined by music, courage, and a voice silenced too soon. Anna Lee as Sister Margaretta. Anna Lee, born Joan Boniface Winifrith on January 2, 1913 in Kent, England, was 52 when she played Sister Margaretta in The Sound of Music, the gentle nun who supported Maria and helped the Von Trapp family escape. Her warmth added humanity to the film's most perilous moments. Before Salzburg, she was already a star. Known as the British bombshell of the 1930s, Lee dazzled on screen before moving to Hollywood, where she worked with director John Ford in classics like How Green Was My Valley and Fort Apache. Her elegance made her a favorite on both sides of the Atlantic. But behind the glamour came turbulence. She endured 3 marriages, raised 5 children, and weathered heartbreak. In 1981, a car accident left her paralyzed from the waist down, yet she refused to give up. For more than 2 decades, she continued acting, most famously as matriarch Lila Quartermain on General Hospital, inspiring a new generation with her resilience. On May 14, 2004, Anna Lee died in Beverly Hills at the age of 91. Her life blended beauty, fame, and tragedy, but above all, determination. Even in a wheelchair, she never stopped shining, a reminder that true strength is not what life spares us, but how we rise despite the trials. Gilchrist Stuart as Baron Elberfeld. Gilchrist Stuart, born Derek Grist on January 19, 1919 in London, England, was 46 when he appeared in The Sound of Music as Baron Elberfeld, the Austrian noble who subtly resisted the Nazi presence. Though his role was brief, it added a layer of political realism to the film's story of love and survival. Stuart's career was built on quiet consistency rather than fame. He appeared in supporting parts across war dramas and spy thrillers, often cast as aristocrats or officers who gave credibility to the background of larger stories. In 1964, he married Sacha Berger, his lifelong partner, and lived a private life far from scandal or headlines. Tragically, his journey was cut short. On June 8, 1977, Stuart died in Hollywood, California, from cancer at the age of 58. His passing went largely unnoticed by the public, yet for those who value the unsung heroes of cinema, Gilchrist Stuart remains a reminder of the steady professionals who gave films like The Sound of Music their depth and authenticity. Lawrence Dobkin as Nazi officer. Lawrence Dobkin, born on September 16, 1919 in New York City, was 47 when he appeared in The Sound of Music as a Nazi officer. The role was brief, but his stern presence captured the shadow of authority, a type of character he played so well throughout his career. Dobkin's artistry spanned 6 decades. On radio, his voice carried countless dramas. On television, he became the unseen storyteller of Naked City, immortalizing the line, "There are 8 million stories in the Naked City. This has been one of them." Behind the camera, he directed hit shows like The Waltons, Star Trek, and The Rockford Files, proving his versatility. Away from the spotlight, his personal life was full of both love and turbulence. He married 3 times and had 4 children. Earlier divorces left their scars, but in his final marriage to writer Anne Collins, he found stability that lasted until the end. In later years, Dobkin worked quietly, respected by his peers even if little known to the public. He never gained great wealth, his fortune was modest, but what he left behind was far more enduring, a body of work that shaped American radio and television. On October 28, 2002, Lawrence Dobkin died of heart failure in Los Angeles at age 83. A steady presence, a resonant voice, and a dedicated craftsman, his legacy lives on, even if his name was never in lights. Doris Lloyd as party guest. Doris Lloyd, born Hessie Doris Lloyd on July 3, 1891 in Liverpool, England, made a fleeting appearance as a party guest in The Sound of Music. It was a small role, but like much of her career, it reflected her remarkable consistency as one of Hollywood's most reliable supporting actresses. Lloyd's journey to film began on the stage in London's West End before she crossed the Atlantic to Broadway. From there, she transitioned to Hollywood, where she built a vast resume of more than 150 roles. Audiences may not have known her name, but they saw her everywhere, from Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman, 1943, to The Time Machine, 1960. She even lent her voice to Disney's animated classic Alice in Wonderland, 1951, playing the Talking Rose, and also appeared in Mary Poppins, 1964. Though rarely in the spotlight, Lloyd embodied the working actress of Hollywood's golden age, versatile, dependable, and always present. On May 21, 1968, Doris Lloyd passed away in Santa Barbara, California, at the age of 76. While she never achieved stardom, her long career left behind a quiet but enduring legacy in film and theater history. Marni Nixon as Sister Sophia. Marni Nixon, born Margaret Nixon McEachran on February 22, 1930, in Altadena, California, was 35 when she appeared as Sister Sophia in The Sound of Music. Gentle and supportive on screen, her role was small, but Nixon's true legacy was her unseen voice that defined Hollywood musicals. Known as the Ghost Singer, she secretly provided vocals for Audrey Hepburn in My Fair Lady, Natalie Wood in West Side Story, and Deborah Kerr in The King and I. For years, she remained uncredited until she fought for recognition and became an outspoken advocate for dubbing artists' rights. In her personal life, Nixon married 3 times, including to Oscar-winning composer Ernest Gold, with whom she had a son, Andrew Gold, later a successful singer-songwriter. She battled breast cancer multiple times, but in 2016 the disease returned. On July 24, 2016, she passed away in New York at age 86. Once invisible to audiences, Marni Nixon is now remembered as both Sister Sophia and the voice behind some of cinema's most unforgettable songs. As we look back on the gifted actors who gave the sound of music its timeless magic, their stories and artistry remain a source of inspiration. Which performance left the deepest impression on you? Share your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear them. And if this journey moved you, remember to like, subscribe, and tap the bell so you won't miss more stories that bring the past vividly to life.